Fans of Mass Effect are very particular when it comes to how they play their Commander Shepards. It's almost an ongoing joke at this point that when someone starts a new save, they promise themselves that they will make new decisions and play completely differently, and then they hit the character creator and it all goes out the window. But if you happen to be one of the morbidly curious amongst the fandom who have unashamedly committed one of these actions at some point, then like this video in solidarity and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. For those who haven't, I'm not going to suggest that everyone should force themselves to play Renegade if they're comfortable being a pure paragon, but after many thousands of hours of my own experiences in this trilogy, I have learned very quickly that there are at the very least several Renegade options that everyone should try at least once in Mass Effect 2. Shutting up the Warlock clan speaker, but not right away. One of the more distinguishing features of Mass Effect 2 when compared to its predecessor is the grittier and more underground approach to storytelling. From the very start, Shepard not only experiences literal death, but upon being snatched from the loving embrace and eternal bliss of the afterlife, is immediately thrust into a situation they neither like nor have any control over. So even the staunchest of Paragon Shepards are heavily implied at being perpetually one toe step away from losing their shit altogether. And this sequence is for sure the top candidate in the case of the straw that broke the camel's back.
The Krogan rebellions will become the Krogan Empire! The surviving races will frighten their children with tales of what the Blood Pact did to the Turians. The Asari will scream as their citadel plunges into the sun. We will keep Salarians as slaves and eat their eggs as a delicacy. If you lack the wisdom to flee, then you will be the first of billions to be crushed beneath our might! For Warlock Gold!
You talk too much.
See? The human cannot hit a simple target!
You could hit the first interrupt if you're a full Renegade, but it just makes too much sense regardless to give this Krogan every chance in the world to shut his mouth before Shepard has finally had enough. You're working too hard. This, I'm willing to bet, is one of those Renegade interrupts that most choose to carry out no matter what their alignment may be. Not only does it make sense as it prevents poor Sergeant Kathka here from repairing the gunship, but there's also this deep hatred amongst most of the Mass Effect community for these, in my humble opinion, mostly misunderstood four-eyed space monsters. This often results in acts of barbarity performed against them at every opportunity. For me, I just think he deserves it for rudely blowing his cigarette smoke in my face.
You're working too hard.
Smoking kills, bro. Wannabe tough guys aren't so tough. Oh hey, it's the Batarians again. Except this time, we're not dealing with a mercenary group's well-trained vital support mechanic. These small-time thugs may not be dangerous, but what they lack in overall intimidation, they make up for in sheer audacity. Whilst this encounter does result in them innocently running away in the end, it is immensely satisfying to see members of this species humbled without resorting to their unnecessary and brutal demise. Get the f*** out of here, man. Forcing Forvan to drink his own poison. Okay, this is getting a little bit beyond a joke. I'm starting to think one of the lead writers at BioWare created these guys specifically to be the galaxy's punching bag. Nonetheless, this guy, out of all the Batarians featured in this video so far, definitely deserves what is coming to him. So much so that even the Paragon option here will result in his untimely end.
You want a piece of me? I'll leave your corpse for the fortune.
Taking any chances.
The reason I say the Renegade option must be tried at least once is that it is immensely satisfying to see this pitiful excuse for a bartender be forced to experience the pain and suffering he has no doubt caused to countless others during his tenure at Afterlife.
You don't want me to.
Now, drink it.
No, you can't.
Drink it, or I'll blind you one eye at a time.
Getting put down by this angry Turian is for sure a satisfying moment, but enforcing the idea that Shepard has the power to make a person tremble so hard that they will choose to take their chances is quite a flex. Eclipse Commander clearly does not know who he's dealing with. One of the ongoing thoughts I have whenever I play Mass Effect 2 is, who the hell do these mercenary groups think they are, and why do they never learn? It gets to be beyond laughable to the point where I'm convinced people only ever sign up because the alternative must be jail or some unspeakable fate. Anyways, the first thing this Eclipse leader says is he knows who Miranda is, and that he believes he is the noble hero in this situation. Clearly his boss never told him who Miranda's companion was, however, as the interrupt in this situation turns out to be the most grossly ridiculous case of I have no time for this shit in civilized history.
Unless you want...
I'm not suggesting these Eclipse mercs would have gotten off any easier if they had known who they were messing with, but they certainly wouldn't have put themselves in the most compromising scenario against the most dangerous soldier in all of the Terminus systems. Knock out the reporter again. Poor Khaleesa bint Sinan al-Jalani. She is a tabloid journalist who doesn't do herself any favours, but does she deserve this treatment repeatedly? The title of this series is Renegade Options We Should Try At Least Once, so technically doing this again is cheating. My only argument in its favour goes back to what I said about Commander Shepard's mental state in this game. If you chose to silence Khaleesa in the first game, you can bet you'd be even more likely to do it again in Mass Effect 2, especially if you spoke with the Council first, fueling Shepard's increasingly unhinged behaviour. Jalani simply has the misfortune of approaching Shepard with her journalistic nonsense at the worst possible moment. The fact that it requires an interrupt this time only makes it feel even more plausible.
Ascension, sacrificing...
I've had enough of your disingenuous assertions.
The Eclipse Express Elevator. Yeah, I know, this is a pretty obvious suggestion, who hasn't tried this at least once? But given how brutal this action is, plenty of the purest Paragons have probably done everything they can to resist helping that wayward Eclipse merc back to the ground floor of the Dantius Towers, so let me explain why even a Paragon Shepard should perform this feat of stone-cold Spectre justice.
I've got nothing more to say to you. If you shoot me, my team's right through...
How about goodbye?
Honestly, why are we even talking to him in the first place? He's not just being belligerent. As we later learn, Nassana and her Eclipse mercs genuinely have no idea what's going on. That's how skilled an assassin Thane Krios is. So, sparing this guy or engaging him in conversation instead of simply putting a bullet in his head is actually more cruel. Letting him go might look like kindness, but it's random and hollow. Oh, bravo Shepard, how noble of you to let this one Eclipse merc walk free. No, pushing him out of the window isn't just badass, it's the right thing to do. Speaking of Dantius Towers, don't let Talon point his gun at you. He might hurt himself. This one is actually more of a kindness, if you ask me. He's obviously scared, and he's obviously in way over his head. Better knock him out before he hurts himself.
I don't want to hurt you, but I will.
Hurt me? I hardly felt a thing.
It can be seen as totally unnecessary brutish behaviour from a person who is supposed to be protecting civilians, as opposed to, giving them a black eye. But I mean, these guys from earlier in the mission didn't see the need to wildly brandish a gun in my face. So why does he? Talon needs to learn to be more chill in a hostage situation. Or so that's how I justify being a giant piece of shit. So that's the list so far. If you want to see what other poor souls I shove out of windows or punch in the face, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell notification icon to be informed of the next video, because algorithms are the real reapers, am I right? In the meantime, you can check out my picks for Renegade options in the first game by clicking right here, and see where I pretend to be a good person by clicking here for my Paragon choices. Thanks so much for watching, Keyless Ally my friends, and until next time.
I should go.